Welcome to the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner. This week in the Royal Corner, Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, are due to receive an award and accept Project Healthy Minds Humanitarians of the Year Award in New York City. Also, in the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner this week, we have Sarah, Gravelicious, Licorice and Greedy, Ferguson, York, being dropped from multiple charities over her Epstein email. We also have the side salad chamois leather queen talking about forgiveness and how she cannot forgive Harry for his memoir Spare. Really? The cheek of this usurper. There is also the green-eyed king in waiting and boo-boo Kitty Katie in Southport wearing matching bracelets, which is of course newsworthy. And then we have the green-eyed king doing his best to ensure favour with father by spending a bonding session with him in Scotland after Harry's visit. Oh, let's not forget we also have Sycophant of the Week, darling. All this and more on the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner. So before I jump into the show this week, I have to say a huge thank you because last week I was working towards 2,100 subscribers and I'm now at 2,060 subscribers and I'm working towards getting closer to that 100. So with your help, please do like, share, comment, retweet, hype the content, and that will help move me up the hype leaderboard. But in addition to that, it will mean that I will be creating more content because I'm thinking to myself, these people love what I'm doing, I've got to do more. So please like, retweet, rethread, re-Facebook, share it in WhatsApp, all of that, plus more. In addition to that, please jump all over my YouTube channel, which is DeniseHeadley.com, and become a subscriber. You can press the notification bell and select all, and you will get all of my uploads. Alternatively, you can use that space to make a donation because I'm very partial to free wings and chips. But in addition to that, you could also make a donation on my website because, you know, you might want to give me a bit of Bitcoin because you're feeling particularly generous this week. I have to give you also a little bit of a heads up because I've got quite a bad ear infection and it's affecting my nose. That's why I'm sounding a bit bunged up and stuffy. But because, darlings, I'm so happy to serve and duty comes before a fall. One does need to turn up no matter rain, shine or not. Right. Let's jump straight in, shall we, darlings? So as you know, I like to open my show with a good news story about the Sussexes. So let's jump all over this wonderful award that they're going to get next month. So next month, the Duke and the Duchess of Sussex will be visiting New York for a mental health related engagement in relation to the work that they're doing with the Archwell Foundation. They will be heading to New York City to accept a special recognition of their mental health advocacy. The couple will accept the Project Healthy Minds Humanitarian Award of the Year at the non-profit Mental Health Day Gala on the 9th of October. They're going to receive the award because of the work that they're doing online to make the world a safer place for families and young people, in addition to the strides to advance mental health globally. And let's not forget about how Harry started to talk about questions around mental health and feeling sad and how that actually created a much easier acceptance for people to start talking more and more about mental health issues. With the Archwell Foundation, which was set up in 2020, one of their missions is to show up and do good, and they launched the Parents Network, which is an initiative to support families impacted by the effects of online harm. In a statement, the couple said working with families and young people to prioritize safety online has been some of the most meaningful work of our lives. As parents ourselves, we have been moved by action, by power of stories, and by those people who are honored to support them. And I thought this was a really interesting story because I think the work that Harry and Meghan's profile do to bring certain social issues to the mainstream has been really, really significant. Just think about the way in which they deal with their own young people, their own children. They don't show their faces. They try to keep them out of that space, even though they're in that space and they work in that space. They will also be present at the project's Healthy Minds 4th annual forum, which is held on the next day. So that's a lovely news story about the Sussexes. Now, let's jump all over Sarah Ferguson and her greedy, gravelicious, licorice, hungish, as my mum would say, you're too hungish, love for money and a life that she has never once paid for or worked for. So before I jump into this story, okay, I actually think that Sarah Ferguson is being used as the limb, the diseased limb. You know, like when you got leprosy, okay, back in the day when you used to have leprosy, you would have to remove that inflicted limb so the whole body didn't become poisoned by said leprosy. And I think she's been treated as the leprosy left arm that they will be exercising to reconstitute, almost like dried milk, their image. Because I think what's happening is the monarchy is becoming increasingly unpopular. People are questioning the legitimacy of it and also the intricacies of it in terms of how it affects our politics. Let's not forget last week, people, we had this massive banquet which cost £20 million, and what benefit did that garner to your ordinary person in the street? Not a great deal. So people are looking at all of these expensive uses of public money and asking themselves, why is this institution in place? So in my opinion, Sarah Ferguson is going to be the sacrificial diseased arm that's removed so that they can save the rest of the family. So if you weren't aware, Sarah Ferguson has been dropped by 7 charities. And I think why I'm doing this article, I'm going to give Sean Colligan, the royal correspondent at the BBC, Sycophant of the Week, darlings. Sean Colligan of the BBC, the royal correspondent. Do come in and take a seat, darling Sean. You are a contender this week for Sycophant of the Week. Sit down, darling. Don't touch any of the hors d'oeuvres, those grubby little fingers you have. So Sean Colligan, if I pronounce that correctly, Colligan, the royal correspondent for the BBC, according to their website, has written this article about Sarah Ferguson and her links. You notice how the language is, links to Mr. Epstein via her emails. Sean writes, 7 charities have dropped the Duchess of York as a patron or ambassador after an email from 2011 revealed that she called sex offender Jeffrey Epstein her supreme friend. She also stayed in his house, in one of his properties in New York. She is rumoured to have taken £2 million, not £15,000. And as I understand it, her younglings, her children, have also benefited from Mr. Epstein's cash, allegedly, according to that book. Of course, Sean doesn't make any reference to that. He continues, Julia's House, a children's hospice, was the first to remove Miss Ferguson, Prince Andrew's ex-wife. So basically, she's not even in the family. She's just a has-been hanger-on, a bit like a barnacle on the side of a ship. You scrape it, but it just won't leave. Julia House said it was inappropriate for her to continue in her role. The Teenage Cancer Trust, Natasha Allergy Research Foundation, Children's Literacy Charity, the National Foundation of Retired Service Animals and Prevent Breast Cancer, all announced that she had been dropped as a patron. And the British Heart Foundation said she would no longer be an ambassador, according to Mr. Colligan's article. He continues, it comes after the Mail on Sunday and the Sun published emails from 2011 which appear. Sorry, why are you using the terminology appear to give the indication that it's not the case? All of those emails have been handed over to Bloomberg. Yeah, we haven't seen them in this country, but they're available in America. But they reveal quite a lot, but he just doesn't seem to want to focus too much on that. In this email, he says she privately apologized for her public rejection of Epstein, saying, "You have always been a steadfast, generous, and supreme friend to me and my family." Well, anyone with probing sense would have asked, Sean, what does she mean by "and my family"? Even a little conjecture at this point would have been helpful. She's clearly saying that he has been supporting everybody, not just the husband, but the family. But of course, Sean didn't delve any deeper. He writes, the Duchess said she would have nothing to do ever with Jeffrey Epstein again, only for her email to say that she had humbly apologized, knowing that she felt hellishly let down by her. Further down in his article, he repeats the same claims regarding the charities who have dropped her, and then he says, Sarah Ferguson's former husband, the Duke of York, the one who was staying in Epstein's house and allegedly had a very special relationship with Virginia Giuffre, had previously had to stand down as a working royal and lost his patronages after challenges over his own associations with Epstein. And there, don't you have it, the establishment looking after itself with the use of for want of a better word, whitewashing in public. Anybody reading that would have no idea what was going on with the king's brother if you were basing it on how these people write about these things. Talk about a veneer response, not even addressing nothing of what he did, nothing about the victims whatsoever, just a very bland statement about his brother and what he was potentially involved in. No mention of the fact that mum coughed up some serious cash so that she could have a peaceful jubilee because of you and your octopus-like behaviour. Can't see nothing. Gotta grab it all. Gotta have it. Yum, yum, yum. That's how you lot stay. According to Mr. Colligan, the tipping point was the slow, toxic release of information, and it was trashing everybody. And he writes, Prince Andrew's links with Epstein have been an unrelenting source of embarrassment for the royals. Even that language minimises what took place, the lack of public accountability, and the fact that the king's brother went on TV and said, I'm going to cooperate with the authorities in America, and then didn't. None of this is mentioned in the article. And for those reasons of absenteeism, lack of critical thinking, and genuinely trying to whitewash, reframe the image of the royal family with it's just, Sarah Ferguson's just made a mistake or two, I give you Sycophant of the Week. There you go, Sean Colligan of BBC News Online, the royal correspondent. You get Sycophant of the Week for writing that article and omitting some absolutely important key facts. And I've got one more thing in relation to this story. I saw a video of Miss Sarah Ferguson, or should I say, she's not Miss, she's one of the Yorks, talking about how she accepted the money and how it was an error of judgment. Just let me play this for you and then you can give me your 2 pence on it. This is a short excerpt from a 60 minutes interview where Sarah Ferguson is talking about Jeffrey Epstein. Just listen to how she tries to dig herself out of the hole amid, her book deals going south.
On stage, you had $40,000 cash sitting in front of you. Did you take that?
Absolutely, yes. And it was given to me and I got it in the car and then returned it straight away.
Once the scandal broke?
As soon as I knew it was a scandal, not once it broke, Michael. But don't try and trick me now, because I'm not going to play this game. Delete that bit. John, can you
No,
just
hang on,
delete
look.
it, please, that bit? Because I don't want to go down this...
Duchess,
it's
I'm
too
asking very
tabloidy.
fair questions of you.
No, it's too tabloidy.
John is Sarah's Australian agent off screen.
This is everything you've written in your book, though.
Yes, I know,
and,
but it's
and
the
you're
way
releasing your book, and you've agreed
book
to do
I've
the
already,
interview because of this.
the book has already been released, and the thing is, I'm not going to go down to this point. I'm going to answer your questions, but that's done. It's finished. I've answered
Okay,
it. Thank
fine.
you very much. Moving on
Thank
to the
you,
next
but
question.
this is just the starting point of this year in your life that you've written about.
Thank you
and
very
it's
much.
pivotal. It's what
Thank
started
you.
the whole thing.
Thank you.
You do write, though, that this tabloid scandal, in fact, you almost feel thankful for it. It let you, I don't know, review your life, see where you were at. It's an interesting way to look at being involved in a controversy like that it helped you in a way.
Sorry? What's your question?
In the book, you write that the News of the World scandal almost helped you, that it let you look at your life.
I'm very grateful to being in that position in a way when I hit rock bottom, because of it, it woke me up.
How big a wake-up has it been?
What more can I say? What more can I say?
The biggest.
You can't possibly...
Yeah.
You can't possibly... of course it has.
It didn't stop her going to the funeral, did it, of the Duchess of Kent? No. Or the husband either. And like I said, I believe that she is going to be the sacrificial lamb for the family. Moving along swiftly, darlings. Queen Camilla, the chamois leather turned queen, has been making a number of statements about Harry, and I thought this was really interesting. She had a number of articles written stating that Harry needed to seek her forgiveness because of the book that he'd written, and if he wanted to have a relationship with his father, this needed to be something that she was going to bestow upon him, but it wasn't something that was going to happen lightly. And because I'm going to jump all over this story, I think we have another contender for Sycophant of the Week. Maria Paredes of Y Entertainment, mainly Yahoo Entertainment. Come in, darling. You are also a contender this week for Sycophant of the Week. So Maria Paredes of Y Entertainment News, presumably Yahoo News, she writes this article. Insiders don't think Queen Camilla will forgive Prince Harry for calling her dangerous and the villain in Spare. She doesn't forgive easily. Firstly, Maria Paredes of Y Entertainment News is peddling the idea that the side salad has any relevance or importance in this equation. She frankly doesn't. And the reason is, when the king eventually toodle-pips himself off to those pearly gates, she's out. You won't be the reigning monarch. Oh no, you'll just be shuffled off into some abode to, basically crumble away like all of the other concubines turned wives. Secondly, most people with 2 ounces of sense have a full understanding of the role that the side chick played in the destruction of him and his mother's marriage. So if anybody needs to be forgiven, it's you, Camilla. You should be asking for forgiveness, because let's not forget, as in the words of Diana said, there were 3 people in that marriage. You were the third wheel. A point that Maria Paredes probably doesn't even recall, because she probably wasn't even an itch in the scrota of her father when that whole exercise took place. She writes, Prince Harry, who turned 41 on the 15th of September, got the best birthday present he could hoped for, a long overdue face-to-face meeting with his father. What do you know about what Harry wants for his birthday present, Maria? Nothing. Just because you want to center the king as the most important thing in your writing week, it doesn't mean that it's the most important thing for the Duke. Once again demonstrating your levels of sycophantery. She continues. While King Charles and Prince Harry finally met up in person, making the world believe that peace within the royal family could be restored, there are still challenges ahead. Really? Like he cares? Not only Prince William, but also Queen Camilla. The Queen Consort and Prince Harry have seldom seen eye to eye, with King Charles's younger son writing all sorts of unflattering and unkind things about that in his bombshell memoir Spare. So really what happened was Harry just spilled the beans on how this woman stays, and she doesn't like it. And as a consequence of that, he has to come on bended knee if he wants to speak to his father. I don't think so, darling. Let's face it, the only interesting thing about the monarchy is Harry and Meghan. So Prince Charles, he might not have all the sense of his mother, but he certainly can read the writing on the wall. Hence the need for the reunion. According to the article, an insider says he, being Harry, has been extremely unkind to her in print. Really? How unkind has she been to him and his wife with her friendships and associations? Let's not forget who she was having dinner with, who she was sitting down last week with Rupert Murdoch people. Don't forget that. Okay, yeah, he's been extremely unkind to her in print, and she doesn't forgive easily, the palace insider said. The royal family make elephants look like they have short memories. The insider went on to confirm that Camilla will never look past what Prince Harry said about her. And I'm sure he's having several sleepless nights over it. This article tries to show her as being fragile, as being steadfast in a particular way. She was so easily wounded by these words. And the other grudge holder that the article makes reference to is the green-eyed king, of course, because let's face it, in the face of Harry's activities, he's just never, no one's ever interested in what he's doing. He concludes that they see reconciliation as creating more bombshells and more instability. And you know why that's really interesting, that closing line? Because that just goes to tell you, because this is basically this story is a briefing story against the Sussexes and against the reconciliation, because let's face it, those two individuals, William and the side salad, the green-eyed king and the chamois leather, they are less important when Harry's around. And that to me is what this article is all about. But of course, Maria Paredes of Wine Entertainment News only wanted to focus on all things fabulous, and that the idea that somehow Harry needed to come on bended knee and ask Camilla for forgiveness. And for that even assertion that the Sussexes have done something wrong, they are, you kind of infantilize them, saying that, you need to come back and be told you're good, and these are the circumstances under which we can communicate. That whole infantilization makes you also receive Sycophant of the Week. Thank you, Maria Prendes of Y Entertainment News. You have also this week got yourself an award for Sycophant of the Week. Well done, darling. Well done. So I've got two more stories for you, darlings, this week. One, we had Boo Boo Kitty Katie, the Doolittle Duchess, and the Green-Eyed King in Southport sporting matching bracelets, which was the headline. So interesting, yes. They were over there because it's a year since the very sad incidents where 3 young people lost their lives in that period, and they went there to capitalize on the continued collective grief, because let's face it, anything that's happening, they need to hoist their petard next to it so they can be seen as a symbol of national unity and togetherness. And there was huge numbers of conversations about the coat she wore. I saw 2 articles saying her coat is still available in selected shops. She looked like a pigeon. Yeah, a wet pigeon under a bridge, because whenever you see those wet pigeons, they wear those dark grey coats. And that's what she looked like, a wet grey pigeon. And as per usual, nothing of interest was in the story. The most important thing was about honouring the people who lost their lives, of course. But the whole thing was about them and standing there, and they're, engaging in activities, and they're wearing matching bracelets. And I thought that was ridiculous. And then the Green-Eyed King goes running down to Scotland after Harry's come over here so he can get some bonding time with Daddy. But I see that within the context of a desperate move, and I'll tell you why. Because, like I said, Harry comes over for a short period of time, grabs all the headlines, and that's the the conversation. No one's talking about you going to Scotland to see your dad. Yeah? No one's interested in that. And didn't you guys just see each other at the funeral? So, the sudden need to spend bonding time with the king, I just see that as trying to maintain this idea that, you know, him and the father are really close together and they work really, really closely and Harry's the outsider. The truth of the matter, I think, is that his dad probably admires Harry, wishes he had his life and his wife. And he probably wouldn't, and he would like to probably let go of all of that stress, but, you know, that's what they picked. They picked what they picked. Anyway, oh my God, this is going on for 24 minutes. And oh, my throat is killing me. And so is my ear. So I'm going to love you and leave you. I'm going to go and take some kind of medication for my throat so that next week I won't sound so nasal. But thank you so much for coming to the show this week. Thank you for your listening ear. Don't forget to donate. Don't forget to make to like, hype, and push me up the hype leaderboard. And I'll catch you next week on the Headley Highlight Show's Royal Corner. Toodle pip, darlings. Right. Mwah. Cut, darlings, cut.